Have you ever heard of Ray Epps? This is a thing that I'm seeing all over the place nowadays. Ray Epps is sort of a central figure when it comes to the January 6th riot of 2021. He is sort of he's kind of a central figure in this conspiracy theory that it was all sort of a setup by the federal government. They're calling Ray Epps, he's a Fed. Because as we all know, folks, January 6th was totally a setup all the way. All of those people that showed up there, they were just encouraged by the FBI for some reason, wanted to stop Joe Biden's inauguration. For some reason. The FBI that hates Donald Trump so much. Right. They wanted to set up this false flag so that all of the Trump supporters who went to stop Joe Biden's inauguration would look bad, I guess. Like, is that what's going on? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so here's this guy. I want to open this article for you. This is the New York Times. Trump backers' downfall as the target of a January 6th conspiracy theory. Ray Epps became the unwitting face of an attempt by pro-Trump forces to promote the baseless idea that the FBI was behind the attack on the Capitol. So this is Ray Epps. He's an older guy. There's lots of video of him outside of the Capitol while this shit was going down, but he himself did not go into the Capitol. But you have him talking to people, have him kind of encouraging people to fight, and we're gonna fight, and all this other shit like that, you know. He very much was a true believer, this guy Ray Epps, and now they are trying to blame the entire thing on him. In no small part thanks to Tucker Carlson and Fox News. Let's move on. In the Rocky Mountains, I'm just going to read this because, you know why? Because fuck the New York Times. That's why. Because they put all their shit behind a paywall. So let's just read the article so that way you guys can see what's going on. Up a windy country road in a trailer park half a mile from the cattle ranch lives a man whose life has been ruined by January 6th conspiracy theory. Ray Epps has suffered enormously in the past 10 months as right-wing media figures and Republican politicians have baselessly described him as a covert government agent who helped to instigate the attack on the Capitol last year. Strangers have assailed him as a coward and a traitor and have menacingly cautioned him to sleep with one eye open. He was forced to sell his business and his home in Arizona, fearing for his safety. And uncertain of his future, he and his wife moved into a mobile home in the foothills of the Rockies with all of their belongings crammed into shipping containers in a high desert meadow a mile or two away. Basically, he's somewhere in Utah now, in like an undisclosed place in Utah. And for what lies? Mr. Epps asked the other day with a look of pained exhaustion. All of this, it's just been hell. Long story short, he was there on the January 6th riot. And like I said, he didn't go inside. And what happened? Right? Basically what happened is that the Republicans, let's go ahead and turn this off for now. The Republicans gave all of their footage to the Tucker Carlson show. Right? All the footage they had of all the shit going on outside, all the stuff in the fucking inside of the, Capitol, stuff like that. And they used it to do certain things like to get the fucking QAnon shaman off, which is ridiculous. You know, that guy's free now. He's like out and about making media appearances. His ass should be in fucking jail. That kind of thing. And in the meantime, they put forward a couple of conspiracy theories. The Tucker Carlson show, they said that first off, it was all really Antifa, unless it was really all a setup by the federal government. And they used footage of this guy, Ray Epps, talking to people to kind of claim that he was a federal agent, that he was encouraging people to go in and encouraging violence and all that. In real life, Ray Epps was discouraging violence. He was trying to prevent people from attacking cops, that kind of thing. He was trying to de-escalate stuff. That's what really was going on. This Ray Epps like conspiracy is so widespread now. It's so prevalent that other Capitol rioters are using this conspiracy as part of their defenses. Let's go ahead and I want to show you this story. This is from NBC News. January 6th rioter who wielded police shield invokes Ray Epps conspiracy theory at Proud Boys trial. So now people who are getting busted at January 6th are saying that, oh, it was all the fault of Ray Epps. You know, it was all the fault of the feds. And here's this guy Ray Epps. He was a FBI agent. I didn't mean to do it, Your Honor. I didn't mean to steal this shield from a cop and beat the shit out of him with a flagpole. Ray Epps forced me to. Such fucking bullshit. So now, of course, Ray Epps is suing Fox News for this. It got really bad. People were selling Ray Epps t-shirts. Here's one here. This is from Redbubble. Who is Ray Epps? People walking around profiting off of this guy's basically misery. That's some fucking crazy shit here. I didn't know that you could just make a t-shirt about anybody. Just some random dude. Like, I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know that you could sell merchandise for like a private citizen and you can use their name and defame them like this. I think if I was Ray Epps, I'd be suing the shit out of this guy. Here's another one. This is from a radio show called The System is Down, which as far as I can tell is sort of like a right-wing kind of like wannabe InfoWars kind of show. But here's the Make Ray Epps Famous t-shirt, and you can kind of see it there. There goes Ray Epps. They did it in that sort of like, you know, yes we can, Obama graphics, whatever. Here's the description. This t-shirt is everything you've dreamed of and more. Feels soft and lightweight with the right amount of stretch. It's comfortable, flattering for all. Also, fuck Ray Epps, Fed Boy. Right. Remember, this is just a normal... That's the thing. Ray Epps was just a normal guy. He was there. He was a Trump supporter. He went there to support Donald Trump. And they just focused in on him. They focused in. This is how conspiracy theories spread. There doesn't actually have to be any truth to conspiracy theories. See, this is the thing you got to remember about conspiracy theories, folks, right? Let's turn all this shit off. Not only does there not have to be any truth to it, it doesn't even have to sound plausible in order for a conspiracy theory to take root. Because conspiracy theories have nothing to do with evidence. They have nothing to do with, like, what actually happened. They have nothing to do with anything like that at all. They don't have to do with reason or logic or what sounds plausible or what's most likely true. No. None of that. Conspiracy theories are about feeling. That's it. Does this sound right? Does this feel good? Does it reinforce my narrative? Is it something that agrees with my politics? Is it something that agrees with my previous conspiracy theory narrative? Yes, no. If yes, then they believe it. If no, then they discount it. And also, you got to remember, anybody who speaks out about the conspiracy theory is part of it. So, if you're somebody and you're trying to say, hey, this shit isn't true, this guy's innocent, whatever, he didn't do it, then you are a government shill. You're obviously compromised by the Jewish space overlords or whatever, or the cabal, or something like that. And you can't be trusted. Conspiracy theories are very much like religions in that aspect, right? And that just, what happens is that a bunch of people went over a bunch of video, started posting shit on TikTok, bunch of QAnoners and fucking shit like that, looking for somebody to blame, right? Because obviously they can't be held accountable for the shit that they did, so somebody else must have done it to them. Because remember, fascists are always victims. They always play the victim game. They're always the strongest people in the room until they have to be the victim. Right? So somebody obviously hoodwinked these good, clean Christian people. And it has to be, the government. And look, here goes a guy who's not beating the shit out of cops. It must be him. So yeah, Ray Epps is suing the shit out of Fox News now, and I hope he wins. I think he will win. I mean, this is part of the reason why one of the theories that they think why Tucker Carlson got let go. Because you don't just fire the guy who's bringing in the most dough for your company for no reason. And it's like, well, if they think that, okay, this lawsuit along with the Dominion lawsuit and some other things is going to cost them a shitload of money, then yeah, they would have got rid of him. So that makes perfect sense to me. But yeah, Ray Epps I think is going to be due for a payout because repeatedly over and over and over, Fox and Tucker Carlson's show and other shows on Fox had just constant defamation shit that's just not true. Remember, Ray Epps is just a normal person. He's not a celebrity. He's not a politician. You can't just say shit about normal people, private citizens like that, and not expect to be sued. So I hope he fucking cleans it up. And this is something we always got to remember when it comes to this shit. You have to, whenever you see these sorts of citizen activist stuff on the internet, you got to remember that you might not be getting the full story. Here's another one, right? The California student from the Proud Boys versus Nazi fight. You guys remember this fight? A few weeks back, there was this fight between the Proud Boys and a neo-fascist group called the Rose City Nationals. They're from what was called an active club, which is basically just another term for a white supremacist group. Right. Conspiracy theorists and Elon Musk falsely accused student of being fed, posing as neo-Nazi. We're not going to read this entire thing. You can check it out on Vice here if you want. Innocent 22-year-old student became the center of a vast internet conspiracy theory that was so intense he and his family were forced to leave their home. Here's the guy. He happens to look like somebody who was in this. Here's the fight here between the Proud Boys and the fucking whatever. And are they going to show his face? Here we go. Here's the guy that was at the actual fight, who was part of the Rose City Nationals, who was unmasked. And here's a tweet from a guy named Young Yuri. Patriot Front are feds. First off, this dude was not part of the Patriot Front. He was part of a group called the Rose City Nationals. It's funny how these guys don't even have their own shit together, and they don't even know who they're fucking fighting, but whatever. The reason they wear masks is because it took 5 minutes to confirm that this is Ben Brody, a poli-sci alumni from UCR. His socials have been scrubbed. His GitHub still exists. The hairline betrays him. But that's not him. That's not him at all. This guy is Ben Brody. It's not the same person. If you look at this dude and you look at this dude down here, not the same people, right? This is a picture of Ben Brody. This guy is not Ben Brody. It looks like him, but it's not him. Ben Brody has a solid 100% alibi for where he was while this was happening. He was also in a completely different state. He's got the timestamps and the evidence to prove that it's not him, right? But that doesn't matter to conspiracy theorists. That doesn't matter to these, especially the right-wing conspiracy theorists. They don't give a fuck about evidence. Right? They don't care if you have proof. They're there to hate people. They're there to blame people. And they go, oh, here goes a Nazi. Here goes a Fed. The thing is, they're not even so pissed off that these guys were Nazis. They're more angry because they think that they're Fed plants. That they're part of the FBI. There to make the right wing look bad. It's because let's not forget, the Proud Boys are also Nazis. They are. The Proud Boys is a white supremacist organization. Okay. They're fucking little brown shirt, Nazi goose stepping fucking morons also. Let's not forget that shit, folks, right? They're pissed at this guy. I mean, I guess this fight happened because there was like some personal beef between like one guy and then the group of Proud Boys, whatever, blah, 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 who cares, right? But they're pissed at this guy because he's become a target. He's become a target of the federal government that they hate. And it's simply not true. It's simply not true. And now this dude is another victim of when the internet hate machine gets its shit wrong. This happens a lot. You got to remember, these things come around. This happens like this. The same thing happened at the Boston City bombing years and years ago. There was video. The bombing went off. People got killed. And people on 4chan went through videos trying to find out who it was. And they found a guy who they thought did it. And they start harassing this dude, because they think he was the guy that did it. And it turned out he had nothing fucking to do with it. He was just a dude. He was a victim of the goddamn bombing. But fucking internet sleuths and shit start trolling this dude, fucking up his life. And years later, this guy is still getting shit for it. Same thing going on here. It's like, so you got to remember this stuff, folks. Like, whenever you see shit like this, like, because there is a lot of this sort of shaming when it comes to the internet, right? There's entire subreddits, for example, where all it is people will spread videos of people fighting. In particular, black people fighting. They'll spread videos of like that. There's other like websites and forums and places on Reddit where they'll spread, videos of people saying or doing shit, bad stuff. A perfect example of this is the libs of TikTok from Twitter. All that is somebody spreading around TikTok videos of people they don't like. Trans people, gay people, stuff like that. And then everybody harasses them. And it's like, this kind of thing is dangerous because more often than not, you end up getting the wrong person. And when you get on the other side of that internet hate machine, shit can happen. And it can last forever and ever because conspiracy theorists don't give a fuck about the truth. This also, know what this also reminds me of? One more thing on this before we end it. This also reminds me of the Sandy Hook families. Sandy Hook massacre happens in 2012. God, it's kind of amazing that was so long ago. And Alex Jones creates this conspiracy theory about it and just profits off of the suffering of these families for years and years and years, saying it was all a hoax, it's all a setup by the government in order to take our guns away. Obama's going to take our guns away. Remember, he was president in 2012, right? All this other shit for years and years, making millions of dollars off of the backs of these people and their dead children. And in the meantime, there's this entire subculture of people who are dedicated to harassing these families. And you hear about these horror stories about how some of these people have had to like quit their jobs and sell their homes and move to other states, and people are still finding out and doxing them and posting their phone numbers and stuff like that, calling them at their new jobs, harassing their bosses, harassing them, running them out of town, right? Trying to exhume the bodies of their children to prove to me that your child is actually dead. I mean, understandably, think about if you had a kid and your kid was killed in a fucking mass shooting, and then a decade later, people are still fucking calling you on the phone, showing up at your fucking house, screaming about how you're a crisis actor, and how you should be ashamed, and how you're going to hell, and all of this shit. In the meantime, your fucking kid is dead, and they've been dead in the ground for a decade, and you're still dealing with this shit. Still dealing with this fucking harassment. I'm glad they took Alex Jones for all the money he had. Fuck him. He caused this shit. I mean, I can't even imagine. I would have lost my mind and started fucking shooting people myself. Next asshole who comes to my front door is getting a bullet in his head. After a decade of this shit, fuck. I would have like killed them and killed myself. I'm not even kidding. So I'm glad they got all his money. I'm glad Alex Jones is fucking like everything that he earns for the rest of his life is going to go to these Sandy Hook people, cuz fuck him, right? These people have suffered enough, but that's what you got to remember. It's like it doesn't have to be true. Conspiracy theories don't have to be true. They don't have to be rational. They don't have to make any sense whatsoever. They don't even have to fit with other conspiracy theories. There are people who believe January 6th was a setup by the federal government and also perpetrated by Antifa at the same time. I don't know how that shit works. Right? I don't know how that shit makes sense. But there are people that believe that. There are people who believe that the Sandy Hook families were all crisis actors. And also androids. I'm not even kidding. That they were not real people. That it was all a setup. That it was all a deep fake. So, which one are they? Are they actual crisis actors or are they deep fakes? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to make sense. It's because it's a religion. Anyway, I thought that was fucked up. I think we're going to go ahead and end it today, folks. So, we was going to talk about some other crazy shit having to do with the World of Faith Church, but maybe we'll save that for this Tuesday. Because I do want to do one more stream before Comic-Con, because I am going to Comic-Con this week, and it's going to be awesome. Thank all of you out there who stuck around and watched me rant and rave for an hour and a half. I really appreciate it. Please go buy some shit at my SD store or whatnot. That kind of thing. Support me on Patreon. Blah, 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 blah. And I will see you on Wednesday. Adios.